Summer is upon us, my friends. Yay! And I hope you're having a really good start to the season. I think that many of us, we tend to take for granted that this season is all easy breezy and more relaxing, especially if you have some holidays, some vacation plans. But I think we can sometimes take self care for granted. And by self care, I'm talking about the practice of prioritizing yourself and putting yourself first so that you can better serve those around you. So, what we are chatting about today, and it's just me and you for this episode, which I'm so happy about, is remembering to incorporate self care into our summer. And I was recently on Breakfast Television, which is a national Canadian broadcast, talking about this. However, a 5-minute segment can go by so quickly. So I wanted to just delve into it a little bit deeper, to give you some more ideas, some more examples, and to really just hone in on how you can make sure that when Labor Day comes, because I know I don't even want to say it, but it's going to go by it's going to be here and with us before we know it. I want to make sure that you are looking back and you're not thinking about, all the things that you did, the packing, the unpacking, the laundry, keeping your kids happy and occupied, working, and perhaps you're forgetting about yourself. So let's talk about this a little bit more. The pillars that we're talking about to incorporate self care are all part of the 30 Days for Me guide, which is a free guide that I offer to help you reset each and every month. So if you don't have that yet, you can listen to this episode, but be sure to head to Andryanna.com after and you can download that free guide. So that's ANDRYANNA.com. You can get your 30 Days for Me, that free guide to help you reset, re-energize, and just get ready for a great summer. So with that said, let's get into it. Self-care summer, here we come. Welcome to the Juggle is Real podcast. I'm your host, Andryanna. I'm a career-driven mom of 3 boys who went from burnout to finding balance, and I am on a mission to help other parents enjoy the juggle of work, family, and everything in between with a little less stress and a lot more ease, joy, and fun. What do you think? Are you with me? Let's get started. While we're on the topic of self-care summer, and before we get into the 5 pillars of well-being for self-care, I want to mention something really quickly. I know that for many of you, your kids are home for the summer and your job description has likely tripled, quadrupled, who knows what, right? You're managing activities, they're extracurriculars, you're reapplying sunscreen around the clock and making all sorts of snacks, meals, fill-in water bottles, the whole 9 yards. So I want to ensure that you're having fun this summer. And for me, that means I want to make things easy. And so when I'm preparing things for myself and for my family, I'm always asking myself that question, like, how can this be easy? So when it comes to meals, President's Choice truly has my back in that keep it simple, but make it fun department. The PC Insiders Report Summer's Edition, it has over 100 products. There's family-friendly ideas, all sorts of recipes. It's all in there. So my boys have been loving the frozen treats. There's a really delicious raspberry hibiscus, dairy-free bar. They're loving it after soccer. I love the compostable bamboo plates and cutlery for quick and environmentally conscious cleanups. Lots of great ideas. So if you want to look at the new products, find some inspiration, make sure to grab your copy of the PC Insiders Report Summer Edition. You can get it in store or you can find it online at pc.ca. Now, let's get started with self-care summer. So, why is daily self-care summer so important during the summer? I mean, you know me, I'm preaching self-care year round. It has really been that fundamental turn to that I can attribute to going to better balanced living after experiencing burnout in 2018. So When I left my full-time job due to burnout, I realized that burnout wasn't my work wasn't the cause of my burnout. Really, it was that I was trying to be the perfect wife, perfect mom, perfect colleague, perfect friend, person, etc. So I really had to reframe and rethink how I went about my daily activities. So I've been able to achieve better balance and maintain it by adopting a more mindful and intentional approach. And so through this program, the 30 days for me guide that I offer for free, through incorporating easy but really effective self-care activities into my every single day, I'm able to find that ease, find that joy, manage sort of the peaks and valleys. And I'm not saying that I don't feel stress. I do, but I'm able to overcome it faster and easier because I have this intentional approach to self-care. So while we're talking about these five pillars to self-care and to your well-being, I'm not saying that you have to spend hours a day. I'm not saying that you have to clear your calendar and time block and forego everything else in your life. You don't even have to do all five every single day. I would say, if you're new to this, if you are really just overwhelmed and you're not sure where to start, perhaps just pick one area and make it your own. What I found is that when we start with these small little baby steps, for me, it was writing out a list of gratitude in the morning, waking up a little bit before my kids. These small little activities really add up. And pretty soon you'll be putting your needs first with ease. It'll be second nature. You won't even have to think about it, but you'll be incorporating it and finding those pockets of time. So the five pillars of self-care are to nurture, to nourish, move, grow, and discard. And the free 30 Days for Me guide has all of these areas. It describes it in a little bit of detail. We're going to go over all of these right now. And so let's just dive right in. So when I talk about nurture, when I talk about nurturing yourself as a form of self-care, really, I'm thinking about doing something and choosing an activity that is just for you. It is not for your kids, not for your spouse, not for your colleagues. You're not doing it because you saw it trending on social media. You're not doing it because you think you should or you have to. To nurture means to just do something that sparks joy and makes your heart sing. And there are so many different examples of this. For me, I like to tap into nurturing myself by feeding into my self image, making self care a priority by feeling good from the inside out. I I literally tell myself that I love me, just like the song, right? I love myself. And while it might sound conceited or it might sound like, I really should be putting others first, I love me first, which means that I love myself enough to make sure that I'm taken care of so that I can be the best version of myself and then take care of those around me. And in putting my needs first, nurturing me first, I am so better equipped to deal with those stressors, to look to, things around my house, disasters on end, or, managing activities and my children's needs with more ease because I have this practice to nurture. So, there's so many different examples. Strong self-image means to boost my confidence. So sometimes that means doing little things to just boost my self-image. So it's not a head to toe makeover. It's not spending all sorts of money. It can be as easy as, that at-home manicure. It can be, of course, self-care is synonymous with bubble baths, and it can certainly be that. It can be, grabbing a juicy summer read that, has no educational value, but is just purely fun and, sparks that joy for you. So when we're thinking about it, it can be something that is for your body in terms of, you know, buying that new nail polish. And I talked about Sally Hansen that has a great line out this year, the Friends collection. It can be, buying yourself a new, mascara or lip chap. It can be offering something as simple as taking a nap when you have a few spare moments, or just laying down to rest your body and mind. So this summer, I want you to think of ways that you can nurture, make time for you that is solely for you. And it can be 5 minutes, it can be 20 minutes, but what's that time that's just for you? Moving on to the second pillar for our self-care summer guide, we want to look to nourish. And when we speak of nourish, we really want to focus on making our body feel good and making choices that are going to make us happy in terms of the food that we're putting into our bodies. So before I even get into this pillar, I don't want you thinking about restrictions or diet or, fitting into that teeny weeny itsy bitsy polka dot bikini. It's about making good food choices and incorporating things into your routine that are delicious, but make you feel good. Okay. So I like things that are, easy to make, that save me time and that allow me to spend more time with my friends and family, while also being able to enjoy the beautiful weather, the nature that's around me, and having a fun summer. So a lot of things that I like to look for, especially during these summer months. I mean, this is, you might have a little herb garden, or you might have planted some vegetables in a garden this year, which is amazing, by the way. If you're doing that, good for you. Two things that I like to look for are eating the rainbow and trying to add more plant forward choices. So looking to getting, those colors from fresh fruit and vegetables. And I'm in Ontario. Farmers markets are, sprouting up all around me. This is how I look to nourish. I'm not worried about counting calories or looking at, how much fat or carbs or whatever the latest trend is that you're supposed to take out. I'm looking for getting those essential vitamins and nutrients in ways that I enjoy. I remember so many years of, eating things that I thought I should be eating because people were telling me that's what you should have, and not even liking it, not even enjoying the food that I was putting in my body, but somehow feeling like that's what I should be doing. So when you're looking to nourish this summer, maybe it's, setting yourself up to make delicious smoothies. So when you are, heading out the door to work, or you're going, making breakfast for your kids, you're not forgetting about yourself, and you can add like all sorts of goodies that's really going to help boost your energy, make you feel great, and also just, be a delicious reminder that you are taking care of yourself. So whatever that is for you, I want you to think of a way or some ways that you can nourish your body all summer long. And that kind of leads us right into our third pillar for taking time out for yourself and spending some effort within your self-care, because the third pillar is to move. And it goes hand in hand with nourish, because again, we're shifting our perspective. We're not thinking of move and movement from that voice that tells us no pain, no gain, or, exercise is, has to look or be a certain way. We're thinking of move and this pillar of self-care from the perspective of doing things that make your body feel good, doing things that you enjoy now, that feel good now, that will also, be good for your body and really take on a new life for you. So it's not, perhaps I'll do this when I lose this amount of weight, or I will, have this, better exercise routine after I X, Y, or Z. This is about being mindful in how you choose to move your body. So gentle stretching. I love my yoga, and sometimes that means 10 minutes. 10 little minutes that really create such a huge effect for how I feel in my body. It's going for a walk. Let's all take a page from the Japanese therapy of forest bathing, where simply surrounding yourself with trees can have amazing therapeutic benefits. So, tis the season for being outside. Pick a park, go sit under a beautiful park bench in the shade. Head outside of the city if you're in a metropolis area, an urban area. Go for a hike. Just surround yourself with the nature of beauty right now. Leave your tech at home, leave your phone, no earbuds, no podcasts. I mean, unless you're listening to this one, just kidding. But just be present in your movement, observe the sights, the smells of nature, see what's going on around you, and check in with how you feel within your movement. Are you stiff? Maybe that means you need to, do some deep breathing and some gentle stretching. Are you tired? Maybe the way you move your body means that you're going to rest. You're not going to go hard at the gym today. You're going to find something that is going to be really therapeutic and beneficial. And that could be going for a massage, moving your body in ways that are a little bit different, or something that's more gentle. So every day is going to be different, but let your body decide how to move. And this really takes on a new meaning when we think of it from self-care. And then it can, snowball into those bigger and greater activities that become a form of self-care. So shift that perspective and decide on some ways that you can move over the summer. Our fourth pillar out of the 5 pillars for our self-care summer is to grow, to think of ways that we can feed our mind over the summer. And you know what? Let's be honest. We've been in survival mode for the last 2.5 years. We've been forced to react to constant change all around us. And, it's been a lot. We're surviving, we are thriving, but let's maybe give our mind a rest. Let's put in some self-care practices that will allow us to grow and to really feed our mind and soul over the summer. So this is all about adding habits that can help with that. And the grow category within this guide really does look at a lot of those self-care practices that we are all familiar with. So things like meditation, things like writing in a journal, talking about what we're grateful for, finding a few moments to be still and to let our mind wander. So when we look to grow, I mean, these are ways that, it could be even to hire that coach that you have been following on social media, or looking at someone that you can talk to about things that are going on in your life. It's all about being uplifted and allowing yourself to think in new ways, have new ideas, be creative. It can be to start doing some painting, buy yourself an easel or some sketching. All of these really beautiful, mindful ways that we can give our mind a rest and really explore new ways of being. So over the summer, what is it that you can do? What practice can you incorporate, integrate, or re-invite into your life? Sometimes things get a little bit busy and we can put these practices down and it's easy to forget about them. But how can we make that extra effort to just add in an extra 10 minutes for our soul? So I'll let you think of that. And finally, our final pillar of well-being when we look to incorporating self-care this summer is to discard. And this might be the last pillar. It is certainly not the least. It is such an important aspect when we're talking about our overall well-being, our overall care of ourselves. Sometimes letting go and releasing, getting rid of something is the best way to care for yourself. So are there old ways of thinking, perhaps a bad habit, a non-productive activity, something that you can release, even if it's just for the summer. And it might be something that you might want to, pick up again come fall. But is there something that you can discard? So, um, I always give the example of when I used to fall asleep every night watching Netflix. It was something that it was just a habit, something that I had done for a little while to help myself fall asleep. And before you knew it, there I am, up, later than I wanted to be, just numbing myself out in front of the television, in front of the iPad, watching shows. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. For some, it can be really helpful. And I still do enjoy watching different series. I'm not saying that I've, totally discarded shows altogether. I certainly have not. But what is something that you might want to try letting go of that might help you make you feel better, help you be more rested, help you feel more productive, more efficient? That's really going to fuel your self-care. So, things like puzzling, myself and my family, we're going to reduce our screen time over the summer. We don't want to be in front of our screens as much as we have been, especially after virtual schooling and the whole 9 yards. What can we do that is going to allow us to discard? So I will let you think of it. And in these categories, we're giving examples, and I'm telling you some of the things that I've done that have helped me, or some of the practices that are go hand in hand with these pillars. But for you, what can you do that's really going to make you feel good about who you are, the person that you're being, and how you're showing up for you? So think of something that you might want to let go of, something that you can discard over the summer that's going to fuel your self-care. And so these are the 5 pillars to nurture, to nourish, move, grow, and discard. If you haven't picked up the 30 Days for Me guide, it is free. You can go to Andryanna.com and grab your copy and go through these five categories and really be mindful in how you want to select it. And just listening to this, you may have thought of new ideas. You may have some of the things that I suggested may have really resonated with you. And that is amazing. That's wonderful. And I'm really happy that you're taking the time to listen, whether you are new to this podcast or if you've been listening for a little while now. I'm really grateful that you're here. So I'm going to invite you to spend a few minutes now writing down these intentions for your summer, writing down who you want to be, writing down each of these pillars and what you intend to do. And it's not going to take long. Even set a timer for 10 minutes, put on some gentle and relaxing music that's going to allow you to really tap into these ideas and how you want to show up. But set yourself up now so that when we're celebrating the Labor Day long weekend, you are feeling refreshed. You're feeling so grateful, and you can put your hand on your heart and just whisper thank you to you for incorporating these practices, for being true to yourself, and for putting your needs first, prioritizing yourself, having these moments of self-care that have probably allowed you to show up better in all of these aspects. So I invite you to write down what these intentions are, what you are setting for yourself, these little goals in each of these 5 categories. And I want you to write a letter to yourself, date it September 1st. And I want you to write that letter expressing that gratitude, thanking you for incorporating these practices for what it has allowed in your summer over, the months that are so waited on. And there's so much anticipation that goes into the summer, and these moments can be fleeting. It goes by quickly. So write that letter to you that goes over how amazing you feel, how happy you are, the moments that you've experienced that have allowed you to feel good about you, your body, the way you're showing up for yourself, your family members, your friends, your colleagues, and really get into it. Tap into that feeling of what it is like to have those moments, to put yourself first and to live your best self all summer long. So that's where we're going to end things for today. I encourage you to rate this episode if it resonated with you. If you could write a quick review, that would be amazing. If you want to screen capture this episode, throw it onto your Instagram and tag me at Andryanna G. That's ANDRYANNAG. Tag me. I will reshare it. I'd love to see when and where you're enjoying these episodes. And please share this with someone who you think could use a little help in incorporating self-care into the summer. We're using the hashtag self-care summer all summer long. I will be sharing different tips and tricks from the travel plans that we have with our family, what I'm doing in the day-to-day activities in juggling and managing everything with family, friends, kids, work, activities, etc. all summer long. Please do the same and follow along on Instagram for more tips and more self-care summer ideas. I will leave it here for now, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in and take good care.